Spencer, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Ralph, for having me. Um, yeah, I got started playing jazz with the saxophone in elementary school, and just kind of fell in love with improvising and kind of playing my own way, and then just kind of kept going from there. Just did not stop, and I kind of always loved how you could just kind of express yourself through improvisation, and that's always been my biggest inspiration for performing, is kind of creating your own style and finding your own voice. And these days now I'm producing and writing, and I kind of feel like I owe it to that moment where I had the freedom to create and kind of do it my own way. But yeah, elementary school started with the saxophone, and then kind of played every instrument in between, um, and had little bands and whatever, and landed on the trumpet my senior year of high school. And it was kind of part inspired by Miles Davis, a really famous trumpet player, and the other part kind of a rebellion against my high school band director, who wouldn't let me play the trumpet because I had been playing other instruments, and they just felt like it was a waste of time for me to explore something new so late. Because obviously, if you're going to go to school for something, you should have more experience. And I didn't have enough time to really get the experience that they thought I would have needed to go to college for the trumpet. So they were like, don't do it. And I did it anyways. And I kind of started off by teaching myself, and ended up getting into a college despite, their opinion of the whole thing, and got into a school called Cal Arts, where I studied jazz trumpet, and finally got to like properly learn how to play the trumpet. And 3 years into school, I was living in Hollywood and playing with like local bands. And one of the bands was a band that had just started called Capital Cities. And the band quickly took off, and I just was able to ride the wave with them. And we toured the world for like 5 years. So it was just very fast. Ever since I started the trumpet, it's just been like a wild ride, and a lot of things have happened. So that's sort of the beginning chapter.
No, that's great. And just out of curiosity, one of the kids wanted to know, do you ever talk to that teacher again? Because now you're one of the most famous trumpet players in the world. I mean, that's kind of ironic, where he's like,
Yeah,
no, you,
we
you
talk.
can't do that.
We have a good
That's
relationship,
good.
and we joke about that time and our tumultuous relationship. And he it wasn't actually just him. There was multiple people kind of in a circle that were confused by my choice of picking up the trumpet so late. But yeah, everyone of course is very supportive and always wanted the best, and I understand their concern. I was definitely coming at them with a curveball, like sitting with my college counselor. you know she was like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I want to do the trumpet. She's like, but you don't even know how to play that instrument. I was like, yeah, but I like it. So yeah. So
It's like
everyone.
Michael Jordan. They're like, he needed to make his varsity basketball team. They're like, maybe basketball's not for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, but passion, I think, kind of can make a lot of things happen. And if anything, the pursuit of happiness is better than anything else. So
oh, that is wonderful. We have a question from one of our students. Can we just jump right into the student
yes,
questions?
let's
All
go.
right, this is from Mev. She's one of our students in Italy. Mev, go ahead and ask you an awesome question.
Hi, nice to meet you, Spencer.
Hi.
I would like to know, how would you describe your sound? Because it's definitely a very unique thing, and I would like to know, from what did you inspire?
Thank you. And it's, a combination of all the sounds that I grew up with. A lot of disco, a lot of funk, and a lot of jazz. and that all kind of plays a role into the ingredients of what I do. And then a big part of my sound is influenced by my experience with capital cities, upbeat, fun, electro, pop, dance music. And I think that's just it. It's like, we are all a culmination of our experiences, and mine has been really eclectic. And I think that sort of makes my music what it is, which is a blend of so many different things. But I guess more than anything, I love big sounding music, and I like epic, like anthemic, fun energy. I just like to sort of curate like a very high level of happiness, I guess, is sort of what it comes down to. I like the music to just lift people, and for me, it's more fun. So, it's not exactly what is popular, but I just do it because I like it.
And I think it's safe to say that you're you're very much so an influencer, because I mean, I don't know if you guys have searched about the people that he's collaborated with. Harry Styles, Mike Posner, Foster the People, Portugal the Man, Fits in the Tantrums. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And I think it's easy to say that you are a trendsetter in your career, in your industry. And one of the kids wants to know, how do you compose so well? Like, do you start from something and like build from that, or is it just layers, or how does that work?
Um, Thank you again. And I think, I don't ever think about it as, good or bad, or, better or worse. It's just sort of like, until something feels good, that's what I'm working towards. So for me, it's when it feels good, when it feels right, and when people around me creating are also agreeing that this is feeling right. It's just a feeling. It's like a gut instinct. And the foundation of my education is really important, I think, to being able to compose coherently. At least, it's like I did go to music school, and I do have a deep understanding of the foundation of how music is created, but that doesn't necessarily make it good or bad. It's just information. And then I think listening listening to music is probably the best education you can get out of anything, because you know Prince is good. It's like objectively good. It's just why is it good? That can be described in a million different ways.
Sure.
But it feels good.
Mhm.
So when you kind of start to think about, when you're creating, does this feel good? Do you have the feeling when you listen to Prince? And then do I have that feeling when I'm creating? It's a feeling of like a completed thought, I guess, is what it is.
It's kind of like a sixth sense, would you say?
um no, I think it's maybe, but not one that I have and you don't. It's a sense that everybody has.
Sure, sure. And as is there like a different thing, like when it comes to performing versus producing? Because what you kind of like described is like wall of sound, like a
Yeah.
big like wall of sound that, do you have like a different feeling, or is it the same feeling both when you're on the stage where you're like, this sounds great?
Well, performing is different because it's sort of in the moment, and you don't have a chance to develop as much, the idea. It's just happening. But the difference is that you are getting to perform something that already has the feeling inside of it. So you can kind of take it to the next level performing. So it's a little different. Um, to me, the ingredient in performing that doesn't exist when you're making a record is the people,
Sure.
the experience. So I think for me, when I feel that I'm connecting with everyone in the room, or wherever we are, um as long as that, yeah, that connection, that feeling is there, that's when it feels right.
That's great advice. I mean, I know that some of the students here are interested for being on stage versus also interested in creating behind the scenes. We have a question from an 8th grade class in Miami, Florida, and this is Miss Mato's class. Go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you for joining us today. It was great. What challenges did you have starting the trumpet so late, as your teacher had told you? Like, had you played other instruments in the past?
Yes, I played many instruments, but none of it, I mean, none of it was the trumpet. So there was some major challenges to overcome just from, the basics of being able to make a sound on the instrument. But music is definitely a language that can be applied to any instrument. And I think you can pick up any instrument with that core language as your foundation. So I just applied what I knew from saxophone, from the French horn, from piano, everything, guitar, drums. These were things that I had played prior to the trumpet and applied that to the trumpet. But making a sound on the trumpet takes time. And that was hard, to get the right tone and to be able to sustain the note. It's not easy. But I think, whether it's trumpet or learning a language or a new skill, in the beginning, it's always hard. But if you just know that, after you put in a lot of time, you're going to figure it out, because that's what we do.
And we love your music. I gotta say, I run to your music. I'm sure you hear that all the time. But dude, I have your album on Spotify. Go run to it. It's like, man, it's just your music has been featured on Target. What is it? Madden Football. You're the musical director of the ESPYs. One of the kids wants to know, what is your greatest professional accomplishment if you had to choose one? And of course, the Latin Grammys, of course, that's a big one too.
Yes. I guess I don't know, it changes when I think about the things that have happened, but I guess for me, growing up in LA, performing at Coachella was pretty amazing. And it wasn't like the biggest moment of my career, but it was an unforgettable, incredibly emotional, epic moment. So, yes, that was one of them. And then another one is for the year 2019, I had a monthly party that I would host and perform at in Brooklyn. And it was just like the most incredible scene in which that always ended up with me like crowd surfing on like a floating flamingo and like playing trumpet, and it was crazy. And I don't know if it gets better than that. So
man, yeah, I one of my favorite performances that you ever had was on the Tonight Show, and I thought that was just cool, like just cool. So
a great moment as well. There's been a lot of good moments. There's definitely been a lot of good moments. I'm grateful.
We'll go with one more student question. We'll kick it back to our friends down in Miami. You guys should be able to unmute to ask, and then I'll wrap it up. Go ahead and ask Miss Mato's class.
Okay, our students are a little shy, so I'll ask for them again.
Sure.
I know how you were able to get to perform with so many famous musicians or other acts. Like, how did you get to that point?
I don't know. It's just something that kind of comes with the experience of, playing in front of a lot of people, and somebody saw, a performance and kind of, reached out and had it lead to the next thing. And, you just kind of let the music kind of show you the way. stuff like that isn't really sought out actually, but I think you just keep your head down and work hard, and good. I think doing the best you can will lead to something.
That is great advice. And if we could piggyback on that before we let you go, what kind of advice, as someone who's a leader in his field? I mean, you've done so much and you're only what, 31, 32?
Yeah,
You've
31.
done
Yeah.
so much in your career, in your lifetime. And there's probably a lot more incredible things that you're going to do. And we're all excited to check that out. But what kind of advice would you have for all these students, whether they want to go into music or film or some other form of entertainment or arts? What advice would you have for them?
This is a big one, and you put me on the spot here. But
I think you touched a little bit
when I
about
look, yeah,
following
there's
passions.
some nuggets, in here, maybe, hopefully. But when I look back on my high school experience, my elementary experience, I wish that I knew why I should soak it up a little more, because I mean, I have no regrets, but I definitely, I guess didn't focus as much on the material that was put in front of me because I wasn't as interested in it. It's super easy to get distracted, and music was always my interest, but the reality is, like, looking back on the education that, you have a chance to experience when you're a kid is really unique. Like, you are being taught about really interesting books and history, and it sounds boring, but when you leave school, you never have time to go read those books again or understand math again or science or any of that stuff. It just goes away, and that's just an interesting thing. So I think just enjoy it, because it's a gift. It's such a gift to just be in school, and like your job is to like work with things in a lab or do whatever. It's really, really amazing. And but either way, you'll be okay. So